Hello everyone, my name is AP the Word One, and welcome back to more Digimon Liberator. This time we're going to be tackling uh, Debug 22. Not sure what's going to happen. Not sure who's going to take place. It could be Shoto Kazuma, we're not 100% sure. It could be something totally mysterious. There's a part of me that thinks it's going to be Altea, but I'm not 100% sure. But this morning we got a free little friend, and I have a PSA announcement about him. So, a little short. I didn't decide to wait for the reference book update. I'm like, you know what? I know what I can do with this. I have my ideas with him. And he is a very cute bastard. That's for sure. Loves to eat everything. I'm curious to see who they're going to mesh with Sujinmon for the final one. Assuming that assuming that maybe whatever it happens, if this year or next year, I'm curious to see who they're going to put it up against. Because my gut says maybe Holy Dramon or maybe Raugulmon. Because it has like tiger feet and then like human face, and then has pig's tusk and a very long tail. Which I think the Sujinmon, he kind of has like his design. He looks like he has a tail, so that would work. And then like he kind of has more elephant feet, so maybe that could substitute for the elephant pig's tusk. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're gonna go for. It'll be very interesting, or they'll go in a completely different direction in terms of design. But I'd say this is definitely one of the higher ones. Digimon have been these two, Digimon and TOT potentially are the high marks. Yeehoo is not bad, but yeah, I'm looking forward to looking forward to the final one. Let's see if this is updated. Not quite yet. See, I've been catching up with when Jinroki when Virga Rebellion, like reading the fan translation. Oh my god, the last chapter was last few chapters I read were brutal. I'm like, oh my god. I've been trying to get the Japanese manga. I still gotta collect the more of the latest one, but yeah, that's a dicey story. Very mature. Still nothing yet. Went one more minute. Should do it. Let's see what we got. Audience. Okay. This. In the forest near the Guardian Fortress, the deepest depths, the silver-haired young man Coolboy let an odd breath. Contrary to his expectations, the air was overflowing with signs of life. It was even louder than the dense jungle of Emerald Coast, yet also somehow detached from the ordinary world, brimming with a pure, sacred atmosphere. Countless layers of foliage blocked out the sun, yet the surroundings remained clearly visible. Mosses and ferns scattered about released spores that glowed softly, illuminating the mystical scenery. Just ahead lies the innermost sanctuary of the forest, the dwelling of the great Dalphomon. Thank you, Elder. Coolboy turned and expressed his gratitude to Cherrymon, the huge ancient tree Digimon behind him. Cherrymon had brought Coolboy here in accordance with the divine request of Dalphomon to grant an audience to the Guardian's captive. The younger folk at the fortress all fear this place and refuse to come anywhere near it, so I had no choice but to lead you here myself. Was it all right not to get Mistymon's approval? Even that stubborn fellow cannot defy the great Dalphomon's words. If anything, Mistymon should be grateful for being relieved of a difficult decision. I see. Oh, I see. Coolboy took a moment to think back. He first heard of Dalphomon before Lacuna was discovered. This is back when he was working to turn Cross Connection into a game that would be a sanctuary for Digimon. Dalphomon was revered like a god, so he had gone to meet it. It was then at the first encounter of the Digimon, who were called the Guardians. Back then, the Guardians were not yet a highly organized group. They were merely devoted followers, led by the powerful Mega Digimon Jesmon. Initially, Coolboy wasn't allowed to speak directly with Dalphomon, as Jesmon always stood in its way. To gain their trust, Coolboy came to the forest repeatedly to explain the team's ideas ideals and their sincere desire to help Digimon. Through this, they developed a mutual understanding. The conversations continued for some time, but Cool Boy had to switch focus to Lacuna when it was discovered, as it was filled with poison lethal to Digimon. The plan was straightforward. First clean up the much larger world of Lacuna, then eventually invite the Digimon living across Connexia to migrate. However, while Cool Boy was carefully considering how to get Jessamon and the others to go along with his plan, various anomalies began to emerge in Lacuna, like the appearance of rogue NPCs. Cool Boy still hadn't explained this situation, but he was overwhelmed with other responsibilities and not easily able to visit Cross Connexia. Time flowed faster in Cross Connexia compared to the real world, so the Digimon ended up waiting far longer than Cool Boy realized. I guess I can't blame them for assuming they were banded. He couldn't stop the regrets, but neither could he afford to remain lost in them. Cross Connexia had changed drastically from how he had known it to be. Alder, may I ask you something? What is it? When exactly did Mistymon become so severe? Cool Boy had known Mistymon from back when the Magic Warriors was like Jessamon's right-hand man and Digimon, utilizing its profound mystic insights to support everyone around. There was even times when Mistymon gently restrained Isleomon, Jessamon's other lieutenant, a stubborn warrior. Back then, Mistymon gave the impression of being a thoughtful, cautious advisor. I can't blame you all for being angry at me. Still, Mistymon's actions have been unexpectedly extreme. Cherrymon snorted at Cool Boy's words. Its eyes within its trunk glowed softly as it looked back in the distant past. Mistymon has always been the type to think constantly. The current direction of things was probably a decision it made at great length. I don't like Mistymon's current methods either, but the Guardians would have fallen apart otherwise. With disasters breaking out everywhere and mysterious enemies appearing from outside, we might have been utterly helpless. You mean Mistymon has deliberately taken on the role of being hated? Oh, Mistymon's not nearly noble enough for that. It's simply a cause of a self-imposed responsibility, trying to fill Jessamon's big shoes. Cool Boy recalled Jessamon's straightforward gaze and earnest words. He could only imagine the immense pressure Mistymon must feel, stepping into the void left by that holy night. Cherrymon fixed its gaze firmly on Cool Boy and then spoke. Mistymon ought to rely more on others. That's what I think, at least. But whatever I say, it's dismissed as an old tree's rambling. I don't believe you abandoned this world, Cool Boy. I'm sure you humans have your own circumstances. However, I do resent that your actions have forced the stubborn fellow into that difficult situation. Cherrymon, you're a wise one. I'm sure you'll find a way through even this situation. But when all is said and done, you must come back and apologize to Mistymon, and to every Digimon who resents humans. I'm sure someone like you is capable of smoothing things over. I don't know. I'm not as capable as you seem to think. Then the only way out of this misfortune is to bow your head and admit that you were not as capable as you made yourself out to be. Afraid of having his true self seen through, Cool Boy averted his eyes from Cherrymon's penetrating gaze. In his heart there was a pure ideal of saving Digimon, but at the same time his mind was coldly calculating ways to win the battle he'd found himself in, placing Digimon, human teammates, and even the whole world onto the scales. Cherrymon let out quite a snort at Cool Boy's silence. Go on. Even those secrets you hide will be clearly visible to the great Dalphomon. Cool Boy gave a brief word of thanks, then proceeded deeper into the forest. As he walked, his figure gradually vanished into the dense, pure data misting, filling the space. Good grief. He's just like Mistymon. Cherrymon sighed softly, afraid of having his weaknesses forgiven, forever blaming himself. Debug, audience. The air was clear and beautiful, yet each breath Cool Boy took made him more and more uneasy. He was in the very heart of the forest, a space blanketed by mosses and ferns. The air felt far too real, almost indistinguishable from the real world. Each breath, each inhalation of oxygen into his lungs gave him a sense that he was being pulled into the space. It was as if his body was transforming into something that could never return to its original world. This has to be the very heart of the world called Cross Connexia. Every cell in his body seemed to be screaming that. So you've come. Suddenly a voice echoed from somewhere. It was as though that the world itself had spoken. At least that's how it felt to Cool Boy. Every plant in this place, every fallen leaf decaying after fulfilling its purpose, every particle floating in the air, they all seemed to vibrate with sentience, transmitting a singular, unified will. The voice echoed not only externally, but also within himself. It was as though he too had already become part of the world, a conduit for the will of a god. The voice was feminine with a gentle tenderness that seemed to envelop all things. Its solemnness made Cool Boy stand straighter. You're Delphamon. Cool Boy endeavored to address the unseen Digimon with confidence. It's good to finally meet you, Harold. I've been watching you for a very long time. Cool Boy's eyes twitched slightly. The presence seemed to understand who he was far more deeply than he anticipated. Cherrymon's words from earlier passed through his mind again. No secrets, huh? As Cool Boy muttered this quietly to himself, he felt the air around him soften slightly. Be at ease. I do not intend to uncover more than I must. Well, thank you for that. In that case, I'll speak plainly. Since you've already seen to know who I am, I'll skip introducing myself. Cool Boy let out a resigned sigh at how Delphamon appeared to be reading his mind. Delphamon, you sounded disappointment when I arrived, but why? It was you who called me here. The air vibrated. Delphamon answered. Yes, I did summon you. But what will result from this meeting will surely be tragic for both you and Cross Connexia. As the representative of this world, I must speak honestly. Having come here will lead to tragedy? Even without a response, Cool Boy understood what has been implied. There were only one person whose actions could inflict tragedy on both himself and Cross Connexia. So Unchained even knew I would come here. It was difficult to realize that much. Cool Boy and Unchained had been subtly reading each other's moves, and they assumed that the other would always make the optimal decision. On the surface, the Guardians capturing Cool Boy and Delphamon, granting him an audience, might have looked circumstantial, but once Cool Boy was trapped in Cross Connexia, it was inevitable that he would seek to meet the god of the world. As though seeing through his train of thought, the plants around him swayed mournfully. Your assumption is correct, Harold. Unchained, the child of the void, is now with my counterpart. Your counterpart? Yes, a Digimon who took the inconsistent path of Digivolution to a different destination. The child of the void intends to rejoin the split paths into one. Cool Boy could tell where there was a faint trace of resentment toward the counterpart in Delphamon's voice. What was the exact nature of this counterpart? No, the more pressing matter was Unchained's objective. So Unchained planned to use you to attain even greater power? Yes. Many heartless puppets followed your trail and will soon descend upon our world. Cool Boy felt the blood drain from his face, yet Delphamon's voice remained completely calm. Be at ease, Harold. It will not unfold as you fear. How can you say that? This is the worst possible scenario. Why would you summon me here, knowing that it places both Lacuna and even your own existence in danger? Because I will not allow myself to become the tool that child of the void desires. Before that happens, I shall perish along with this world. What? Unable to process the out-of-the-blue declaration, Cool Boy was almost lost for words. What are you saying? It's quite simple. If I am taken to Lacuna, this world will suffer catastrophe. So before that occurs, I will return this world to the Earth, while it remains pure and untainted. That's absolutely ridiculous. Cool Boy raised his voice sharply, but Delphamon responded with deliberate calm. No, I'm not saying this is out of despair. Then why? Because this world is nearing the end of its lifespan. Cool Boy felt silent. You've heard about it yourself. Yes, aberrations are occurring all across this world, and not because of external influence. This world has reached its limits, and now stands on the brink of collapse. Such is the fate of worlds as small as this. You considered this possibility yourself, did you not, Harold? That why you chose Lacuna over this world? But I was the first Digimon born into this world. As a being who embodies nature itself, my existence allows the colors of wilderness to flourish strongly here. It is a world where the strong endure and the weak perish. but all meet their end in time. In a voice whose gentleness felt almost cruel, the deity continued. That is why I believe this world itself should gracefully accept its end. We have a right to perish beautifully. I intend to exercise it. No, I cannot accept that. Cool Boy clenched his fists with all his strength. This world might be small, but countless Digimon live here, and each one irreplaceable. So long as there is even the slightest possibility of saving them, I can't abandon them. Not a chance. That is admirable, Herald. Dolphimon said nothing, and silence reigned. Then the air suddenly filled with overwhelming tension. Gravity seemed to double or even triple, forcing Cool Boy to his knees. However, I do not accept what you are saying either. Like you, I desire to save this world's Digimon. But how do you propose to resolve this situation? Do you expect me to simply cross over to Lacuna, following the Child of Void script? That will only invite greater calamity. And what about the Digimon here? How will you convince Mistymon? Would you have them simply trust you and travel to Lacuna, a land still filled with poison, and on top of that under your enemy's control? Well, when Cool Boy failed to respond, Dolphimon continued, sounding like a strict scolding mother. That will not do, Herald. If you truly meant what you said, you should have offered hope, even if it was false. You should have told me you might fall into the enemy's trap, be corrupted and defiled, and meet a tragic end. But even so, I want you to fight alongside me. Cool Boy was stunned into silence. You claimed you wished to save the Digimon, but you lacked the resolve to share their fate. I can't let you or any Digimon living their lives be dragged into. No, there is a being in this world that's just living its life. The word struck Cool Boy with crushing force of hammer as he collapsed to the ground, groaning. Dolphimon continued to speak in that same gentle voice. I cannot entrust you with my beloved children. Dolphimon, be at ease. If this world perishes, the schemes of the Child of the Void will fail. Protect your own world. These words were unmistakably a divine decree, an overwhelming will, impossible to impose. Cool Boy tried desperately to resist, but his body refused to move. Even his throat refused to attempt to speak. But then the crushing pressure vanquished at once, releasing from its grip. Cool Boy collapsed heavily, gasping for air again and again. Are you all right? Dolphimon, have you changed your mind? No, but I've decided that it's still too soon to pass final judgment. What? As Dolphimon spoke, the floating particles in front of Cool Boy gathered and formed a rectangular screen upon which an image formed. Cool Boy stared at those gathered just outside the Guardian's fortress. Yuki and Itmon, Winner and Funbeemon, Ryotaro Tyrannomon, Suze and Frigimon. The debuggers, let us wait and see. It will be their choices that determine the fate of the world. Cool Boy tightly clenched his fist as though praying with all his heart. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I actually like this chapter. So it seems like Dolphimon is okay, I'll give it my thoughts. Let's see. There was where is it? Where is it? Okay, so Dolphimon is female, so a sister counterpart to Metatromon. So it's based. Dolphimon is based on Sendelphimon. I think it's Meta. Yeah, Sandalphimon. Sandalphin. Okay. Okay, at least from this picture. Okay, all right. All right. Okay. I could see having a little bit more of a feminine version, but I was kind of thinking before this. I'm like, are they going to introduce Delphamon? And we kind of get a feeling. This leads me to believe that the next one it'll probably be a bigger chapter. I do think that I actually think that Unchained's probably going to get to this world and then capture her. Well, just she's got a very feminine voice, but potentially, I mean, it could be either one. But just based off that idea, so good chapter. Learned a lot about Cool Boy. Kind of nice. We'll have to see what's come next. Let me give a pause for a sec. All right, nothing special, but I mean, still, I enjoyed this chapter. This was nice, much needed from the more typical novels like this. I mean, they've been fine, but this is definitely more story driven. But I do think probably would be the 19th is probably going to be pretty spicy. Maybe we'll see. We'll finally see what Delphamon looks like, and then. I'm not sure what would happen in December, but this should be a fun ride. Anyway, with that, I'll see you guys next time. More Digimon. There's going to be definitely more Digimon thoughts going for this week. Maybe we'll see something of Shambhala tomorrow. I don't know. We're definitely wrapping up. So I definitely think of December we're going to be ending. Maybe have the novel side will be kind of our final goodbye. The epilogue will be in the novel side. But with that, I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful Thursday. And we'll catch you guys next time for more Digimon stuff if anything appears, anything major. Anyway, take care.